Hello everyone, I'm Santiago, and today I'm gonna be testing Shadow of War on the GeForce GT 1030 for FPS monitoring. I'll be using CAM. If you want to download the software, there's a link down in the description. And if you enjoy the content and want to support the channel directly, there are Humble and Amazon affiliate links down in the description as well. So Shadow of War, I'll be doing 1080p, 900p and 720p. To skip none of those sections of the video, check the description below. So first I'll show you 1080p with the overclocked GT 1030. I added 250 MHz to the core and 500 MHz to the VRAM. So that gives us an advantage in performance. Then on 900p and 720p I disabled the overclock. And since I was only able to get 30 frames per second, I made a configuration for that to be over 30 frames per second the majority of the time. If you want to crank up the settings a little higher, you might want to enable the dynamic resolution option at 30 frames per second, so the game dynamically changes the resolution to stay over that frame rate target, so you can crank up the settings a little bit. Then on 900p and 720p, I'll show you a 30 frames per second configuration like on 1080p, but with a little higher settings, and then a 60 frames per second configuration, which is almost the lowest settings but with mesh quality on high, so there's less pop in. And I also enabled the dynamic resolution to 60, since if not it was quite difficult to get 60 frames per second or close to 60 frames per second. So yeah, 60 frames per second is possible on 900p and 720p with pretty much low settings on this very cheap GPU, but keep in mind that if you want to play at 60 you'll have to lower the settings and the game will look blurrier due to the dynamic resolution. So personally I will play at 900p or 720p at 30 frames per second, since the game looks sharper there, plus it has better visuals overall, but that's just my opinion. That's why I made this video, so you can choose your preferred configuration and play it your way. And also another problem that I ran into, as well as on the GTX 750 Ti, I had to keep textures on low. If I kept them on medium, for example, the game just crashed. This didn't happen on my 1050 2GB, for example, so it seems to be a memory bandwidth thing, but yeah, the game itself is totally playable. This time around the amount of options we have is very substantial. There are not that many options, but they affect the frame rate quite a bit. So first of all, if you want to get better performance, lower shadow quality from ultra to high, you can see at the right of the options what each option does. So for example, from high to ultra we get double the resolution of the shadows plus more shadow distance, so you know what you're tweaking when you are in the options menu, which is good to have. All the explanations, the memory usage, all that kind of stuff. Then mesh quality can also make quite a difference in performance, but there's more pop in when you're moving fast through the map. The vegetation range, I recommend lowering that as well, which gives you a good improvement in performance. And finally, if you lower ambient occlusion, it can help you with the performance a little bit. And one very cool option that I found in the display page from the options menu, you have the dynamic resolution option if you want to use it. What this does is you put the frame rate that you want to get to, and the game will dynamically change the resolution in order to maintain that frame rate. I tested it out and it works pretty well, but if for example you try on a 1050 Ti, I don't know, maybe ultra settings, and you get 30 frames per second but you want to get 60s, the dynamic resolution option at 60 will make you go as low as 720p. It's very noticeable. So I recommend using dynamic resolution if you are very close to your target, like 10 frames away, and want to get to that frame rate. Other than that, it's very noticeable when the game gets blurrier. So just test it out and see how it works for you. In all my videos I didn't use the dynamic resolution option, excepting on my GTX 750 Ti video, but that's because that's a lower end card. Overall, I really like the options menu of this game. It explains everything to you, what each option does and what part of your PC is affecting. So it's a pretty good options menu if you ask me. A lot of options, you can even turn off many of the heads-up display stuff. So yeah, kudos to the developers about the options menu. Anyway guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you keep enjoying the video. Thanks for watching and see you next time.
You invaders love to blunder your way into our fort, but you don't get very far. And you don't blunder back out alive!
A fine man, a Gondor! Let's show him the proper respect.
wonderful prey you are, Tark. You're almost difficult to hunt down. Come on! Surrender, and maybe we'll kill you quickly. That won't work on me. Weapons up. Away!